In this update, we're going to ask the question of why are doctors' practices closing? Now, we brought this up a number of times and we've asked the question, but now today we are going to have an insider tell us some of the reasons why. Also, we have mechanics across the United States quitting in record numbers, and we're going to have them share with us some of the reasons why that's happening as well. Also, we have an insider from one of the largest semiconductor distributors in Asia tell us what's going on. And one of the big things that they're hearing in the background that they're talking about at the highest levels, that they are seeing an invasion of Taiwan as all but inevitable. Plus, we have border updates and even more. Let's jump right into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade. And these are your updates. These are your reports, guys, from all over the place, letting us know what you're seeing, what you're hearing, and what is going on in your neck of the woods. We appreciate that. Please do keep your updates coming. Just reply to any one of the videos with a comment and make sure you use the word update somewhere in there and let us know what you're seeing or what you are hearing. Before we dive in, we do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They make this possible. They do a fantastic job helping people get switched out of stocks and bonds in their retirement portfolios. If you have a retirement portfolio, like an IRA or 401k, and you want to find out how you can get invested in physical metals like gold, silver, platinum, you might want to talk to Jonathan and his team. There'll be a link at the end of the video on the screen. All right, so Krista says, in South Carolina, Columbia, they repaired and tested the air raid siren last week that had been broken for years. A lot of activity from FEMA getting us more prepared for something. They just don't want to tell us what they're getting us prepared for, are they? Bess says Black & Decker is laying off 192 people in Fort Mill, South Carolina. So we're seeing more and more companies laying off a lot of workers. Some of the rule changes that the Biden administration has brought in, and also just the fact that the economy is slumping right now. Mandy in mid-Michigan says, I did my weekly shopping yesterday at Aldi. Their main organic snack section right in front of the store continues to be mostly filled with other things. So the organic snack section has all these other things, right? This week it was paper towels. The salad dressing section looks full, but there's only ranch. So not the variety. There were no semi-sweet chocolate chips and very little of the other varieties. I mentioned it to the cashier and she said, yeah, half the stuff in the store, we don't know when it's coming in. We just hope it's on the next truck. So are there problems going on at Aldi? That may be. Let us know if you're seeing that in your area as well. Homestead Gal says, one possible reason for doctors quitting their practices, here as well as mentioning before. We're friends with our GP. I went for my yearly checkup this week. He confided that his practice has not had any increases from the government to cover the Medicare, Medicaid payments in 10 years. Now, has anything gone up in price in the past 10 years? I know, it's a joke, right? Everything has gone up in price. Wages have gone up. Everything from paper towels to toilet paper to everything goes up in price, right? Not to mention medications and all that. So they're not getting any more reimbursement now than what they did 10 years ago. Having those patients is now a financial burden due to the loss from government reimbursements being so low. That's scary. When they're losing money, how long before they quit, right? The practice is losing money overall. Basic desk clerks are now salaried at around $22 an hour, and considering what they do and everything. And other costs of doing business have risen as well. But the government is not keeping up with their reimbursements. Add in those pesky mandates and hefty insurance record requirements, and he's ready to throw it all in. He's not even 55. He said he will probably close his practice that has 6 doctors and 1 PA. Does that give you an insight into what's going on with the doctors and such? That they're being scalped by the government on that, and because of that, they're not able to continue paying their employees, and it's just not worth the hassle anymore. Can you blame them? And that's why a lot of these private practices, doctors have either sold them out or have closed them up, and then they've gone and started working for these health companies, these insurance companies, because these medical providers, they do all the administrative stuff. And so then the physicians can just focus in on medicine. But of course, that's what they're sold it as, but then they end up having to do so much paperwork. It's not exactly what they were told. Blondie, speaking of mechanics, right? Mechanics will not work on EVs. So most mechanics won't work on EVs unless you have a specialist mechanic that's been trained. They don't know how, and they say it is dangerous. Dangerous working on EVs. So yeah, you can imagine that much power in those battery packs, and you get a little bit of a dent in that. You don't know what part of that car is electrified. You can grab, a bar, or you can touch some piece of metal in that car and not realize that it is running a lot of current through it, right? And you can get quite a shock, if you know what I mean. So you can imagine why a lot of mechanics are very hesitant about working with electric cars. Gas cars don't have that near of a problem, right? And if the part of the cars that do have that problem, they know and are familiar with how dangerous that can be. But, you can smell gasoline and you can see gasoline, and you know where the parts of the car where gasoline is. Electricity is a whole nother thing. Let's continue on here. My husband is a tech, an auto tech, at the same company for 33 years. Guys are quitting left and right out of frustration. Cannot get parts in a timely manner. So even at some of the larger companies, they can't get parts. And that's a big deal. Even dealerships are having a problem getting parts these days. I have a car that's been in the shop for almost 2 months now, and that's a whole nother problem right there. And that's been in the dealership shop for 2 months. Absolutely crazy. Let's hear from Holland. Spirit Free says, we have a shortage of all medication. This is including paracetamol. So all medications in Holland are having issues as well. It's not just here in the United States. It's not the insurance company necessarily. It is the fact that they don't have enough medications. You have to go back to the manufacturers of these medications to see what's really going on. And that means you're talking about India and ultimately China. China makes the raw materials, and then India does a lot of the packaging and a lot of the filling of the capsules and stuff like that. But it is actually China that makes the precursors, makes the active ingredients. And we're just seeing that they are not producing things in a timely fashion. They're not producing things in the same volume that they were before. And that should beg some questions. But of course, our mainstream media has absolutely no interest whatsoever in asking any questions whatsoever. Vicky says, 40% of U.S. subs are docked for repairs. Russian subs found off the U.S. East Coast. So the Russians have sortied out into the Atlantic with a large number of their ships. That is, is a concern for some people. Now, 40% of U.S. subs being in docks for repairs and stuff like that, that's not unusual, actually. We see that U.S. Navy subs tend to be in docks around 40-50% of the time. And so we usually have about half of our submarine fleet out at any given time. And that is a big concern. But that is crews need rest. They need time to do regular maintenance. They need time to check everything. And that means that they have to come into docks about that. So, William, in the Northwest, having done Uber Eats for over a year, I guess that's Montana. That's what the MT stands for. Having done Uber Eats for over a year, have just begun to see delivery drivers who can't speak English with anything but rudimentary basics of English. And we're seeing reports out there that that people who shouldn't be here are getting jobs, particularly in grocery delivery as well as food delivery from restaurants and such. And so that is that's a lot less American jobs. We just saw that about Tyson. They're laying off their employees. It was 1,600 employees at that one factory. But the big thing is that they're moving production where they have more of these foreigners who are going to be hired to replace them. And so they're hiring massive amounts of people that are here temporarily on temporary humanitarian visas and stuff like that that have been issued to them by the people in charge right now. And that's a big concern. So Jan in Allentown says, update. This morning from CPB, or the Customs and Border Patrol, says there are about 800 getaways or gotaways every single day. These are people that cross the border that do not actually get caught by Border Patrol. And that's every single day, 800. These are the people who want to avoid detection, and that's who we should be most concerned about. These people don't want to be fingerprinted. They don't want to be run through any system at all, even though they can lie about their names in the first place. They can throw away their identifications before they get here. The problem is that some of these people might be on databases. Their fingerprints may be logged and everything like that, and so these people are actively avoiding. So they're not going to get all the free stuff. Why would they want to avoid getting all the free stuff? That's a question, isn't it? 800 people getting away every single day. That's about 300,000 a year. Think about that. Someone told me that there aren't at least... is someone going to... This is a sarcastic question. Is someone going to tell me that there aren't at least 1,000 up to no good? Right? How many of them are up to no good? The FBI doesn't know. They're concerned about it, but they're not concerned enough to actually stop people from getting into the country. But that's where we are. DC1 says, I work for a subsidiary of one of the largest semiconductor distributors in Asia. I had a meeting with some high-level executives of that large semiconductor parent company of ours. So we're talking about high-level stuff here, large purchase orders, major company, major international company, right? And they inform me that they are having to scramble to establish offices in China. Why would they be scrambling to... Semiconductors, many of them come from Taiwan, right? So they're forming relationships with the Chinese government in an economic sense because China will most certainly invade Taiwan. Friends, don't listen to what people are saying. Look at what they're doing. And when you see major semiconductor companies out there scrambling fast to develop ties to China and the Communist Party there so that they can still get their semiconductors when China invades Taiwan. Taiwan produces 90% of the world's semiconductors, and we're talking about high-level semiconductors. The stuff that's used in cutting-edge technology, they produce pretty much all of them. If you're talking about U.S. missiles, guided missiles, EVs or cars and stuff like that, those semiconductors, the cutting-edge semiconductors, are almost exclusively produced in Taiwan. It is huge. And so when you start seeing these companies that are purchasing these semiconductors are suddenly out there trying to butter up the Chinese because they see that China is about to invade, we should be paying attention, right? The U.S. military doesn't think there's a problem, and yet the U.S. military says that, but then has 2 aircraft carriers sitting off the coast of China right now. Why do we have no aircraft carriers where the Houthis are shooting missiles at ships go past, and we're saying that that's a huge priority for the United States, and then we have no aircraft carriers sitting off the coast of Israel right now, even though we say that's a huge priority for us, and we have 2 sitting off the coast of China? Friends, don't listen to what people are saying. Listen to what they're doing. Watch what they're doing. This Asian company was not previously willing to work with China, and now because they said it's inevitable for their invasion, they need to prepare to be in the Chinese government's favor. Everyone at our organization is sad about this. People need to know if China invades Taiwan, it will delay all semiconductor production and the shipment on global scale, which will essentially slow down or halt the fulfillment of orders where products use semiconductors, which is anything electronic, anything electronic needs a semiconductor. So think about that. We could see a complete shutdown in manufacturing globally. And know this, that the Taiwanese government has threatened, and they have taken steps to prepare to permanently damage all the equipment in their fabs if they are invaded. They plan on basically burning their factories to the ground to punish the Chinese. It's made there as a deterrent, of course. Like, if you're coming to invade us in order to take over our factories, we will destroy our factories, and so you get nothing if you invade us. So are you listening to that, right? Yoop Trooper says the Chinese population is being encouraged to buy precious metals as well, in a way to import wealth into their country by every means possible, trading their paper for actual metals. It's a smart move. If a Chinese citizen owns it, it by extension is owned by the Chinese state. Another way to drain the global supply of gold and silver. They're trying to bring down our economic system, and this is one big way to do it. We say we have all this gold, and yet the simple fact is that gold is flowing over to India, over to China, over to Russia. They're buying it up by the ton, and the United States is selling all of its gold and silver away. At some point, we run out, and then everyone realizes that gold and silver are worth way more than what the United States has been pretending it is. Tangible assets are flooding out of the hands of the U.S. government and U.S. businesses in exchange for paper, worthless paper. And the U.S. will inevitably collapse under an enormous pile of worthless U.S. dollars. Sound familiar? We've been warning about that for quite a while. Is the United States telling its citizens to buy up metals? Nope. But China is, because they are playing it for the long game. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining us. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold, there's a link right here. Just fill that out, and they'll send you an information packet. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.